Hi guys, welcome to my channel. We just woke up, let the dogs out for their morning pee, and then we're in here and I'm giving them their meal, and then I'm gonna take them for a walk. So what I do is I've got their bowl here of ground beef. I just pre-cook the ground beef. It makes it easier. I keep this in the fridge. I can also use this for myself as well when I need quick protein. And sometimes what I'll do is with that, I'll usually, I don't have any tomato paste right now, so I do have to grab some of that, but I've got, I'll add I have a red pepper, I've got some other vegetables, and I can either add it to, sometimes I make like a whole big batch of this where I'll just pre-mix like all the vegetables and things. Like I'll add some roasted red peppers with the tomato paste and a ground beef, and that's like what I'll eat. That's sometimes what they'll eat. And then it's just one big batch that we eat from, and it's all healthy. I know what's in there. And you know, you think you get bored of like eating the ground beef, but like when you add that tomato paste, it actually adds quite a level of flavor that I actually was surprised by. It's kind of like a ketchup, but without the sugar, right? And so I find that to be satisfying when I eat that. And so I'm just gonna, usually I eyeball this up, but I usually have in the past measured it, like weighed it out to get an idea of how much protein they need. But I also find like even when I've given them the amount of protein they need per day, they're still hungry. And I know dogs will sometimes like, you know, they'll beg for food or whatever when they get bored in that. So I've tried to give them more exercise. I feel like dogs are very similar to us, where they will, you know, when they get bored, they want to chew on something, or they want to eat. So I think what I've tried to do is get them more walks throughout the day. And I haven't gone to the point yet, but I want to, you know, give them more stimulation and play and stuff like that. Sometimes I will put one in the crate. We'll put them both in the crate, and then I'll hide treats around the house. I have to remember. My memory's not great at times, so I have to put them in places where I'll remember there. And so I'll let one out, and they get to kind of run around, and we'll be like, find it, find it. And then it's fun for them because they're using their brain, and they're, you know, not thinking about the food aspect. So I think dogs are similar to us in that way. And whenever they have bones and stuff, that's stimulating for them. And so I'm trying to give them more different moments throughout the day, so that it's not just them looking forward to food time. And I think also, like as a human, I think when you're overly bored and you're like sitting in your body and not taking action, I think sometimes when all you have to think about is food, all you're going to think about is food. So like it's important to try to add more into your day, even if it's not like something that is mentally complicated or like overstimulating. It can be just things like adding, you know, tidying up your house. And I think sometimes, you know, I found that was unfulfilling because I'm like, well, it feels like I'm working all the time. And so like try to add some light leisure. And it doesn't have to be some, you know, deep hobby or something like that. It can just be, you know, picking up one of those adult coloring books. It could be restoring something, fixing something. It could be creating something. It just needs to be something that you find interest in, and you want to spend some time on it, and you allow yourself to spend some time on it. So yeah, so I just thought I'd show you guys. I don't feed my dogs kibble. It's expensive. To me, it's overrated because like what I find is since I've started feeding my dogs with the real food, their bloating has gone down. Dogs do get diabetes too, and I don't know how they're getting diabetes, because if I wouldn't feed them anything outside of the kibble, and that's how they're getting diabetes. Like, well, I understand that there's a physical element to that, and a lack of movement can add to that problem. But if I'm giving them kibble, where is all that crap coming from, right? So I recognized as soon as I stopped feeding them kibble, I noticed the bloating go down. I had less accidents in the house, because I think that kibble is filler, not fuel. And so what happens is the dog has a lot of output. And then it also makes them extra thirsty. So not only do they have all this food they have to expel, it makes them super thirsty. So now they got to pee all the time. So, you know, that's not fun for a dog to be holding on to that all day, and that's uncomfortable for them. That's going to make them feel uncertain. And, you know, when a dog goes to the bathroom in the house, I don't think that builds their confidence. That makes them feel like crap, right? So I think it's important to build confidence within your animals as well. And so part of that is like trying to problem solve about like their bathroom behaviors and their level of activities, and also like it is what they're eating, right? So together I started the change first, and then I realized like why not do this with my dogs too? And like I'm not a vet, I'm not a professional, and I just try to make sure I add a lot of different types of food. And I think that's also something, like dogs get really bored of kibble, and you're like, well, it's dog food and it's just a dog, and it's like, well, if that's your attitude, this is probably not the channel for you. But well, I don't treat my dogs like my babies. I do want them to feel good. They're a living thing, and I think I want them to feel good about their day in and day out. And while sometimes they feel like a lot of work for me, I think sometimes it's also the way I was living my life that made it harder to care for them properly. And so also being at home has helped to make them feel safe. And then we've had a lot of experiences outside with other dogs and things like that, and we're learning what's safe and not safe for that. So all this coming together is really allowing my dogs to relax into themselves. And I might do a video just to show you. I don't have a before picture, but when I used to go on walks with my dog, the one dog, excuse me, his tail was right between his legs whenever we would walk. And now that I've changed not only his leash from one of those restraining sort of choke collars, like it wasn't the metal one, it was just a cloth, you know, slip ring kind of thing. And once I change it over to like a body harness where the leash holds him at the very base of his back, it's really allowed him, and pairing that up with time to sniff, let them be curious, let them sniff things that are safe to sniff. I also would, when we're on our walks, when they see something, I tell them to just watch. And I started that at my window, but I carried it on to the outside. And so it really allows them to, like, instead of thinking like everything's an attack, I allow them to tell them like that person on the sidewalk is not an issue because that's public property. Now, if someone's at our door, that's a reason to bark. If someone's coming into our yard, that's a reason to, you know what, I'm not inviting anyone into my yard. If they want to step into my yard uninvited, that's going to be their problem, not our problem. And so it's teaching our kids, our dogs, us, what is safe and unsafe is really helpful, and learning what that is and how it's hindering us or helping us. And then so when I started letting the dogs be curious, and like about cats, they didn't even know what cats really look like. So, you know, my dog's like hanging out watching a cat for a few minutes, and it's fun to watch his curiosity. And then he saw a kid on rollerblades, and he just wanted to run. He wasn't pulling, but his attention was all on this, I think it was about a 12-year-old kid on rollerblades, and he was just so interested. And it was so fun because his tail was straight up, his ears are up, and it wasn't like a threat. It was different. It wasn't a fear. It was like, I want to know more about that. And so when you start making some changes in your life like this as well for yourself, there's things that when you get the information, you allow yourself to process it, you know, with your best interest at hand, and allow the real truth, even if it's painful, to come through. It allows you to make more decisions for you and for those around you, like your family and your fur babies. And so, like, this is how, yes, I'm alone, but I've got my kids, I've got my fur babies, and you know what, my plate is full right now with that. I don't need extras. And while I am making connections outside of this, and I'm meeting people, you know, through my page here, like, I still have, my time is still very full with my projects and my fur family and my adult children. I mean, they're doing their own thing, so they don't require too much of my attention, but I'm still trying to improve myself for when we do have more time, and making sure that I'm my best version for them, because they didn't receive it when they were younger. And I didn't receive my best self when I was younger, so this is kind of like for me too, right? And so part of my lifestyle is including things that are like, it's simple. Like, if there's not a flavor yet, I don't have the resources or time to really focus too much on, you know, recipes and things. But this, when I make food like this, the dogs love it because it's something different. They don't know what they're going to get. It's different textures. I don't give my dog any sort of shellfish anymore. Not even, like, I don't give him shrimp or anything. I had an issue with the one dog, so I'm not going to wait and find out if the other dog, like, it didn't happen at first, so I didn't think it was a big issue, but after a few times, my one dog got like a really swollen eye, because I gave her some shellfish, and I gave them mussels one day, and like, the other dog was fine, but she was not. So it's not something I will test anymore and give to them. Or when I was just like a big golf ball there, and it just happened overnight, and I woke up and I looked at her, I'm like, whoa, what's going on with your eye? So there are things I would definitely Google, like what not to give dogs. Now, there is like conflict with, like, people say garlic is like onions, but there are other people saying that actually garlic is really good and it's different than onions. So these are things that you get to figure out and research and do for yourself. But honestly, this is, well, it is higher maintenance than like just taking a scoop of kibble. It actually saves you time in the long run, not only with vet bills, but with like, your dog is having more quality of life, and let's be honest, like they're gonna live longer like this too, and then they're gonna be happier, and you're gonna have less messes around the house. So it's actually kind of saving you time in that regard as well. So when you look at it like that, it can be really helpful to, sometimes the pros and cons are not obvious. We're doing something because we feel like it's quick for us, but in the long run, it's actually not for our benefit. So when you can take the time and start working on the parts of your life like this, it all kind of comes together and you get a two birds, one stone. Like I started carnivore, and that's when I started considering like my dogs and doing it for that. I'd already heard about raw dog food. We had tried that. My dog was having an allergic reaction to the raw dog food, and I was thinking about, like, there's a lot of, you can get bacteria all throughout the house from that. And I thought, well, why not just cook the food? Why not just cook the food? So I think that you have to find your middle ground. Like, yes, these are domesticated dogs. These are not like dogs out in the real world. And so I think you have to look at different aspects and like what really makes your life better, and not just easier, but better. So yeah, hopefully that helps. They're about to eat their breakfast. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.